Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
I am Julie Hawkins, bizpsychic.com, the bizpsychic. We were having this conversation about how I'm listed before we,
Yeah.
but anyway, and this is, I always want to go, because I see you on my screen to the left, but when it gets played back, I should be going to the right.
You'd have to go like this or just like, and.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and
and.
this is Tammy Langowski, Tammy's Intuitive Service.
Yeah, tammy'sintuitive.com. Close enough. Tammy's Intuitive Services, but website's tammy'sintuitive.com, which is where you can find me on social media. Tammy's Intuitive Services on Facebook and Instagram. Anyway, and did you need to say more? Did you introduce yourself all the way, Julie?
I know I'm good. I was just, as you were saying social media, I thought, yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna leave social media behind at some point here. I just am not. Anyway,
Yeah, well,
that's another conversation.
Yeah, could be.
So we are two psychic moms, and we met and came together because we both worked at East West Books. Although I think we never actually. I mean, did we ever meet at a
I don't think we did, Julie. I don't think we ever did. Yeah.
So, I mean, you were there. I was there for, I think, 8 years. And how long were you there? Same
Yeah,
day?
about 8.5. Yeah. Yeah.
So funny that in all that time we never came across each other. But as things were shifting in the East-West universe due to COVID, we met and we connected, and we were meant to connect. And so we do channeling together and individually. And so it's just, I love channeling with you, Tammy. I just love our days.
And I do with you too, Julie. Thank you. I feel the same way. Julie and I are very similar, really, in our styles, but probably each have our own unique way of doing things too. But and I think that makes it kind of neat too, because a lot of times we'll laugh about how we're thinking something or we get some information that's the same, at the same time, kind of thing. So yeah, it's all good. All good.
So we have a question from Rudy. I feel like we have two #1 fans, Rudy and Daphne.
There's another who's watching right now that would say me too, but I just don't know if she wants to say her name, but starts with an A.
We love you. We love you too. We love all of you. Listen, we love you all. If you tune in and support us, you are our #1 fan. So you're our only fans.
We're grateful for you. Yeah. For sure.
So, yes. So all right. So we're going to go to Rudy's question.
Yeah. So Rudy had a comment kind of question. Do you want me to read it, Julie?
Yeah, because actually here's
I mean, I won't read the whole
thing. Wait, before you do that, let me ask you this. So I personally wanted to ask them questions about, gosh, where are we? I say we, the United States. I feel like we're in such turmoil. And so I wanted some clarity from them. And so I'm wondering if we do that first.
Sure.
Because it feels so heavy sometimes. And then we go to the other one, which actually is probably just as heavy, but I don't know, maybe it's just a heavy day. So here we go.
Yeah.
So as I was walking to the computer and the top of the news stories right now are it's either Afghanistan or the pandemic, right? It's like the only thing that's going on in this world. And they did say to me, just as the drop-in, before I ever asked anything, a lot of people are going to die. Now, what that means, I don't really know, because when I get drop-ins, they're just sort of phrases, and I have to go back and probe for more, as you know, right, Tammy?
Yeah.
And so it looks like, for those of you who are interested in Afghanistan, and if you're not, there's no judgment here. I really am tired of the news, so I don't listen to it a lot. So anymore, which is counter. It's very counter to who I used to be. But anyway, the Taliban, whom we went into Afghanistan to fight so that we could keep America safe and get Osama bin Laden. That was the whole purpose of going to, or so we were told, to go into Afghanistan. And for all intents and purposes, it appears to us as citizens that that worked. In the meantime, as we all know, there are people who are trying to escape. And while American citizens will not have a problem ultimately getting out, a lot of American allies, the people who helped American troops, will. Some of them will make it, many of them will. So this is them talking now. Many of them will make it better than you think or hoped.
They
although
will, Julie, I'm sorry to interrupt you. They will make it, or they won't?
they will make it out.
They will. Thank you. I was just going to hit that part. Okay.
Better than you hoped. One loss in your eyes is always one too many. And so there will be people who will not. And so just know that we always take you to the place of this was their agreement and when they incarnated, okay? Does that make us feel better as humans? It doesn't make me feel any better. I get it intellectually, but feelings are different, right? They're not intellectual. So it's messy. It was gonna be messy. It's gonna continue to be messy. You are so funny, you people who live in this very large country known as the United States, because it's so massively huge. How could there not be bureaucracy? If there were only, a few thousand of you, things would get done quickly. But there are 330 some odd million of you. And things do not progress quickly. And Afghanistan was one of those things that is not going to progress quickly. And if you want to place blame, if it makes you feel better to do so, as humans, that's what you do. By and large, from your perspective, things in retrospect will be better than you will turn out better than you than it appears in the moment. Okay, so we say to you, have some faith and just trust that you're, of course, wherever you are meant and supposed to be at any given time. Is there anything that your guides would like to add about this? Because
yeah, just what you said there at the end is very, very true. You're meant to be kind of where you are at any given time. When I look at the energy, I don't follow much about the whole Afghanistan thing. Maybe I should be a little bit more aware. I don't know, but I really don't. So I'm just being honest about that. So I don't, Tammy doesn't have a lot to say about it, only because I really haven't followed what's kind of been, you get little bits and pieces, how that is, you hear little things, but part of me is like, what's been happening? I know that sounds very naive and, all that kind of stuff, but just kind of my world anyway.
to me as a psychic, so we'll just say that.
Yeah, exactly. So, but when I look at the energy of it, they're showing me just really, again, this is going to be another situation where it's another situation enabling people to either exit their body. I know this sounds just very matter of fact. They're not without feeling when they say this, but you get what I mean. They're just going to say it. And for others to be triggered, for some to want to jump in on it. They almost show me, like, unfortunately, like a visual of like a schoolyard fight, and then other people get, enraged and they jump in on it, or they, they get involved or anything like that, right? Where others are just kind of, worked up from it. And again, they're not really giving a judgment about any of this. They're just kind of showing it. This is yet another situation in your world, which is allowing the people that need to be triggered by it to be triggered and learn something, or others to do something about it, some to exit their body or transition to the light. And really, this too shall pass. There will be a moment when the dust settles. We're not saying without a cause and effect, or effect of the cause, I guess. But it, you know, what we all do, it can do as a collective. I hear pray for justice. Pray for justice. That seems a simple statement, but that's what I'm getting, and they're just resting with that. So that's kind of what they're saying about it. You know, it is, yeah, I do feel that is true though. It's another, it's not just, I don't want to say it's just another thing, but I mean, it is kind of, it's another situation in our world. You know, what I've been feeling a lot lately too is just, and I know we've probably talked about this before, but because we are so privy to information now across the world, and that's been the case for some time now with media, and now, you know, social media just adds to that, right? You know, if you're not sitting in front of the TV watching news or reading a newspaper, you might be on your social media or some sort of thing on your phone, and you're going to get a lot of information. And, you know, it can be beneficial sometimes, we know that. And then other times it can be overload, they're saying. It can just be an overload. And we are just, again, we are so aware now of all the workings in the world. No wonder there's more stress in the world. No wonder we walk around buzzing, they're saying, because we really are taking in so much of everything where, I don't know, decades ago, whatever's the right way to say the timing on it, you know, it wasn't so much because we weren't so aware of everything. So they're saying, pay attention to that. Just please pay attention to that. Do your part in what you think, you know, feels right to do. Because they're not saying to keep a total blind eye to everything. I do like to be informed now and then. Obviously, I'm not that informed about what's going on completely in Afghanistan, except some of the things you're saying, Julie. So that actually helped me hear what you were saying, because I'm like, oh yeah, I think I heard that, and you know, it caught me up a little bit. But that's been coming in more than anything for me lately. Is just this overload of us feeling anxiety, feeling collectively, people going through a lot of things, not being happy. And they said it spreads out. Excuse me, they're kind of going on here a bit, but they said it spreads out to other things too, like people not being happy suddenly in their jobs, you know, feeling impatient. And that's what I'm feeling is the core is we are so stimulated right now.
Exactly, 100%. And this is why, as you were talking, I heard, this is probably me, I just want to unplug from social media.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I do not go on social media hardly at all anymore, unless it's to post cat, tortoise, dog, animal stuff, the occasional political humor. I will actually say, get off of my keyboard.
We're still here.
But other than that,
No, it is a lot.
yeah,
It's a lot. You know what I say too is at least just protect your energy before you're reading. And I do that. Like, let's say I'm gonna look at some of the things of what's new on the news on my phone. I will put my big giant white rose right in front of me because I'm not taking a whole time to totally do my whole aura and the usual thing I might do for protection. But my intention is everything. Our intention is everything. So that big giant white rose is going to hold everything. So I will put it with the intention that I will just be informed, but I'm not taking on the negative energy of it. And then I feel better about it. You know, I can read through some things. I will skip the things that would be too deep for me as empaths. We know,
Yep.
You know, for me, it's going to be things about children and animals.
Yep,
Hurt.
exactly. I skip them too.
Exactly. Right. You see the first line of something, I'm like, going to the next. It's not that I'm not caring or any of that, of course. I just need to protect my energy.
It's really, it's the opposite. We care almost too
Exactly.
deeply.
Exactly.
So it's really, yeah. And so we have to protect ourselves. Absolutely.
Right. And then destroy, you know, get rid of your rose afterwards, send it off to source, whatever. But that is just another way to, if you want to be involved, really, I can't say enough. We can't say enough. Protect your energy on a daily basis. Like I said, we're living in a world right now where we are, and yes, we can pick and choose what to listen to, obviously. we can shut down from all of those things for whatever time we need. And sometimes we need to, but if you're feeling like you want to be informed, at least set an intention around you of, that you're not going to be taking on the really negative stuff that you can't necessarily do anything about. You can use it to send prayer. And that's often what I do is just send loving divine light. If I hear something that I feel like I can't do anything else about. Anyway.
Exactly. And we know the power of prayer and positive thoughts. We can turn everything. We can't turn everything because we can't stop the fires. We can't stop the floods. We can't stop those things
Right.
with thoughts. Those need actions. So, all right. So interestingly enough, you talk about awareness and woke. I'm trying to segue into the next question.
Go for it.
And so Rudy asked us a question, and so if you would be.
Yeah, so basically he said, and thank you, Rudy, again, as always, we appreciate these, as you know. So basically when he says, so what is the difference between the woke folk and the enlightened and the ordinary Joes or Josephs? I like that. Yeah, he just kind of talks about how, it can be an effect with other people, like on social media, that where it gets to be too much and things like that. But basically what he's getting to is, what is the difference between the woke folk and the enlightened and the ordinary Joes? And I have to say, Julie and I were talking about this ahead of time. Really, I'd not heard of that term woke. Again, okay, maybe I just, I'm not up to date on things. But I had to kind of look that up, and Julie and I were discussing it just a tad before we started. But yeah, so go for it, Julie. What did you want to?
Okay, so here's what came through. So I think personally, I'm like, whoa, well, that means in my mind to be awake and aware, right? And then I went to look it up earlier, a while ago, and
Yeah.
it's that in the context of really the word as it is used now is about being not just aware of social injustice, keep on being aware and keep being focused on changing social injustice. And and then you have to talk about, well, what's social injustice? So let me back up a second. So first of all, the difference between woke and enlightened and just your average Joe is about everything. It's always on a spectrum. Some people are more sensitive and more willing to be part of the solution, right? And we're going to talk, woke in this context is usually used in the context of race for people of color. But I think it should be people in general, because we're women and we'd like to feel like there wasn't any misogyny out there. Or in my case, maybe age discrimination, but there's all this judgment and injustice around a lot of people, unless you're an old white man. So it's just a fact.
Yeah.
So it is kind of a spectrum. So and really it's what kind of how you want to see, enlightenment is, again, just, if you think about it, it's just shining a light on something. You want to light it up, make it lighter, maybe. It has a variety of connotations. And they're saying they're just, I like to say there's spectrum. There's a continuum and a spectrum, but they're saying they're showing me levels and stairs. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It is, when you think of enlightenment, when humans think of enlightenment, they think that ultimately they're going to get to the state of nirvana, okay, where you are one with God. Well, that's another whole conversation. I'm just going to say, first of all, you are God. And God is in here. I was having this conversation with the guy who was tiling my bathroom. God isn't in the church. God isn't on the back porch. God is right here. God is right in your heart and your mind and your soul, and you are God. So we'll just go to that part. But to come back to woke, it's really about awareness. All of this is about awareness and how you can be a better person. That's what we like to say to you. It's about how you can see what isn't just and how you can make it more fair and just for people who don't have maybe what you have, or who are being treated unfairly or unjustly. So, and then there's the white people who think they're, and I'm just going to say it, I'm a white person, but they're the white people who think they're doing everything right. I mean, and until you really come face to face with certain things, you're like, oh, not that I've had any training in that. I have not. I feel like I was just lucky enough that I grew up in well, first of all, California is probably one of the biggest melting pots. I was a minority in my high school, which was a good experience. There was probably 90% of the people were people of color. And I mean a whole bunch of colors, right? So I think it helped me to see things in a different way. But there's a whole range of things, from jobs to cultural aspects to, it's just, so being woke, just be aware, how do you, and we're going to go back to the simple thing. How do you want to be treated? If you see a situation and that isn't how you want to be treated, how would you correct that?
Mhm.
How can you help to serve that to be a more loving and compassionate and understanding and equal society? That's what we want to give to you as woke. You can call it by any other synonym. I almost said cinnamon. But it's all about awareness. And over to you.
Yeah, lovely, lovely, Julie. Thank you. I will open. I'm just reading his thing again because I want to read the message again too for me. So what is the difference between the woke folk and the enlightened and the ordinary Joes? Well, there are different levels of people being here, right? It's really the same much to what Julie was saying too. I mean, you're gonna have ones that are more aware in general. I guess you could put woke as awareness alongside enlightenment, versus those that are walking the earth that are just really here to learn a lot of lessons of being on the earth, on the planet, without necessarily having that higher connection of vibration to source. And of course, everybody's right for where they're at in their learning and so forth. So I think, I do agree where that can get a little difficult too. I'm going to go back to what Ruby kind of mentioned about sometimes you're seeing on social media, some people just really are just so into whatever it might be, and it might really push some buttons for you. And, we would say even then you're exactly where you need to be reading that comment. Yeah, you can choose not to, but you know what I mean. You happen to be reading it for a reason. And again, we will be in many different ways throughout our days, throughout our lifetimes, we will be presented with situations to let us see our triggers and our emotions that are coming out at that time. And I get it. Sometimes it's really heavy stuff. So we choose not to, to either block them or just not be engaging with them. And of course, that is fine. That is your choice. I would say too, if it ever comes to that kind of situation, to maybe take a moment to see first, and I have done this, I do this, to explore, okay, what is it that I'm so upset about? Julie and I might have talked about this kind of thing before. Something's familiar. We might have had another conversation on one of our things. But yeah, just, take some time to say, okay, I'm feeling really, pissed off about this. So what's pissing me off about it? Let's get really deep. What is it exactly that I'm upset about hearing? Is there some truths within me? Is there something within me that resonates with that? Oftentimes that can be the case, and then we just explore that a little bit. Sometimes it's just that it's it's prior things we've learned about that are coming back again to kind of see where we're at with it. Be past lifetimes experiences we've had. And hey, where are you at with it now? Let's throw this at you in front of you. Let's see how you react to it. So, I mean, everybody does have their place is to in their learning where they're at right now and what they're learning. And emotionally, some things are going to be harder to look at. But we do have to, I think, the good thing to do first, I would say, the suggestion is to take a look at it first to see what is exactly being triggered, and then do what you must, because we don't want to be surrounded by negativity all the time. And if we are more enlightened and aware, then we have less tolerance for that, frankly.
And yes, we love, thank you for all those reminders. And I guess if I was going to give me or they were going to give anybody a thought or suggestion about anything, it is just to be open. Be open to listening. Be open to watching. Be open to observing. Be open to possibility. Be open to other perspectives. We always think we're right, and maybe that works for you, but if there's triggers or there's controversy or there's the word that I can't remember right now, just arguments and then be open to hearing and looking and examining, well, what's that really about? Because it's never really as bad as you think it is, but that's a whole other conversation. So back to woke and that is really, just as Tammy said, everybody's on their own path and their own journey at their own right time and place. And if you're on this journey asking those questions, then your job is to help ask those questions of people who need to hear those questions.
Exactly. Good point, Julie. Very good point. So thank you, Rudy. Because really, asking that question does open up a lot of thought for others. It gives opportunity for others. And you're playing a part in that by asking that question. So that's a very good point, Julie. Yeah.
Exactly. Your questions are so valuable. I mean, again, that's why we say, please share these videos and ask people to send their questions, because we want to share the responses with them. Your question is important, and as important as the answer.
Yes,
Okay.
indeed.
So any kitty news?
Any kitty news? No, I had them running down the hall a moment ago. Heard them outside my door, so they're having some fun.
I love
But nothing too much. It was kind of fun over the weekend though, because my husband had to do some work under our house, in the crawl space, basically, the whatever, yay big, whatever it is. And we have a thing that we keep it open for our cat. Our other one, well, Teddy doesn't want to go down there, but Jake loves to go down there. It's completely sealed off and it's, it's fine. He'll come back. I might have mentioned this before because he's come back sometimes with webs on his whiskers, come out. So anyway, that was his fun for this weekend. And it doesn't happen often, only if my husband needs to do something or, once in a blue moon that it does, but he enjoys that. So that was kitty fun for my cats, but otherwise, you're doing okay. How about yours?
I managed to get the Revolution Plus on Maggie May this morning, who was none too happy about it. She sure is, but she struggles, but anyway, it all works.
Is that a flea one, Julie? Is that a flea?
It's supposed to be kill the fleas and dewormer, but I'm telling you, I never seem to be able to get rid of the worms, and it just drives me nuts. So I have to go talk to the vet about it, but everybody's backed up months. So when I take Bella in for her woman exam in October, I will talk to the vet then, which seems far away, but anyway. But I'm so excited because after interviewing, I think 5 or 6 different contractors and landscape people, I finally found somebody who I think is just going to be wonderful. He did, I'm in the 300 block, for the 500 block, somebody's house down there. And it's just amazing.
Great.
And so we talked about the catio space that we're going to build, and and it's just, he's like, oh, this is just the beginning. I will come back to you at least 2 or 3 times so that we make sure everything is clear. I know what you want. You know what I'm talking about. I'm like, perfect. I said, I'm open to suggestions because this is not my thing. And so I'm very excited, and
Yeah, that's awesome.
I can't wait to get started, but I have to go to the decking superstore and pick out my decking material, which will be composite, but my God, there's like, I don't know, 50 different shades and wood grain looks and da 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 da. Anyway, so I have to go do that. But and
Wow.
still trying to finish it. My bathroom is done, except it needs to be painted, and the painter isn't responding. So I just have to find another painter, I guess. So frustrating.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy with the whole thing of, because we had just got another bid on doing our backyard. Well, we don't have it yet. Actually, he'll be working on that. I think he's working on that, and hopefully getting back to us. But everything is just, as you're imagining, is so delayed right now. I'm sure everybody's noticing that if you're having any work done, even sometimes doctor's appointments and things like that,
Month.
or
It could be a month or 2.
yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy, but well, I'm excited for your catio. You're going to have to, when it's all said and done, show us pictures.
I will. I'm very excited about it. So.
Yeah,
And I'm excited for them because I want them to go out and play out there and
yeah,
rest out there. And I can let them out in the middle of the night when they're, wanting to go out, or it's just.
so will you have an access for them to go on their own, kind of like a little kiddie door or anything? That's
No, no, no.
okay. I was just wondering if you're going to do that as well.
At least not at this point. I think the only way I might be able to do that is if I take the screen off. So the way my house is situated, I'm sure this is way more than anybody really wants to know. So if you stop watching now, I will not be offended. The part of the enclosure will incorporate my bathroom window. And I mean, I could take off the screen and then just during the night, allow them to go in and out that way. They've kind of trashed the screen anyway, but and so I may end up doing that.
Mhm.
But there, other than that, I'd have to like put something in the wall, and I don't
Right, right,
to do that.
right.
But yeah,
That's exciting.
there's so much more. I swear, every time somebody came out and talked to me about it, I learned something new or gave me something new to think about. So, and you're just asking that question. I'm like, okay, so I need to think about that, and where will
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, because that's what I was wondering, just how the access would be, for the cats, like how they would be going out, if you'd be letting them in there, or yeah, if they have a door.
I mean, it would be easier if I just opened up the bathroom window and went.
Yeah, right.
But and that may happen. That may be exactly how that goes. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Right.
But other
Right.
than that, yeah, I'm happy, and I
Good.
can't wait to get started on that. Probably not for another few weeks at least, but
Waiting now.
and I don't think it's going to take all that long. Maybe a couple of weeks at the most.
Yeah.
And they'll
Gosh, I wish
be,
I could say that for our project.
well,
I mean,
that's phase 1.
yeah, I'm super grateful when I say that. Don't get me wrong. Super grateful that we're looking into doing this, but it's how anybody who's ever done construction and gone through anything. Not that it's in my house, thank goodness, but it's just like you're like, oh,
What are you looking at doing?
oh, it's a backyard redesign in our backyard. Landscaping. We need to put in a patio because that got took away when a extension went out. Kind of thing. Years ago we did that. And we've just had it with grass, and we've maintained it, but it's so yeah, it's a whole and I worked with a really great designer. This time I did a designer, and so you guys can send me a message if anybody wants. I would be happy to pass her on. She drew up on CAD, did a whole design that way, so that makes it easier for the contractor then to look at it and stuff. So not sure when we're probably won't be starting till October. They're booked out. I was surprised he said mid-October, meaning that it would be that soon. Others I've talked to, and then we're waiting for bids, so then the time goes further out.
Yep.
So as you're trying to get everybody's bids, then the first guy that said it'd be in October, it's probably going to be November or December if you were to go back to that person. So, you know,
It is
that's just the
exactly,
way it is.
that. It is just the way it is.
Yeah,
And
I mean, all good, like you said, super grateful and everything, but yeah, it's just a little, you know, that part's a little.
so you just made me think, you know, there's this whole, I can't explain how things work in my brain, nor should I even try. But I'm sure you have these moments where you have a nanosecond on one thing and then it leads to a nanosecond on something else, which leads to a nanosecond on something else. It's quite remarkable how our brains work.
Yeah.
But it reminded me of the question that I wanted to ask my guides and your guides, which are, you know, what is ahead for us as a democracy in the next couple of years? Is our democracy going to survive? And I think we've asked questions like that before, but maybe we'll leave that till next time because I don't want to make this run over. But so yeah, I think we'll leave that for next time. And
Yeah,
and how and what does that look like? And yeah,
yeah,
kind of scares me. But they said, oh, this is the weirdest feeling. They went, don't be scared.
yeah, I love that. Exactly.
That was so weird.
Well, and remember, I'm going to say again, information overload. You just have to be careful because it does lead to, it's a good question for sure, but it leads to that concern when we're hearing so much of everything that is happening. And, you know, yeah. But yeah, we can talk about that maybe next time. Be good.
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. All right. My dear friend Tammy and other psychic mom and all of you out there in our Two Psychic Moms world, we thank
Yeah.
you so much. You know how to find us. And
That's right.
if you don't,
Intuitive.com and bizpsychic.com. I also have that other Tammy's Channel Chats YouTube video that I would, you know, we'd love your subscribes to Two Psychic Moms and to Tammy's Channel Chats, if I may say so as well. But yeah, just if you know, check us out on, well, obviously you're watching this on YouTube, hopefully, or through that. So share us, you know, with others if it makes sense. Send some questions to us to take a look at for you.
we're growing slowly, but we are growing. And so we do really appreciate it. But yeah. And sometimes I'm kind of lax in that too. So I'm going to be more on it than that. But all right, until next time,
All right.
this is it. We're signing off until then, and have a great rest of your week. And we'll see you next time.
Enjoy, everybody. Bye-bye.
Well, we'll sign off if I can get my mouse to work here. Okay.